Jake Kelly. I'm here with Allan Tomkins. We have music in the background because we're here at the Allan Tomkins Guitar Showcase that features some of the finest Australian artists and some of the finest American artists as well. And Allan is the man who makes these fine instruments. And it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. We're having a great time here too.
This is one of your guitars here, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, the thing that sets you apart from the run-of-the-mill guitar factories is that you hand make each and every guitar.
Everything is handmade by myself. I have nobody else helping me, nobody else doing any extra work. I do it all by myself.
But, you know, the other amazing thing is that they sound different than the instruments that run off the production lines here in America. And what is that attributed to?
The reason is because I'm using native Australian timber in the body, such as this one has Tasmanian blackwood. So it's quite a hard wood and has a lot of excellent tonal qualities. It's a quilted, highly figured piece of Tasmanian blackwood. As it is round this edge here, you can see that all that round there, beautiful like fiddleback quilting, and all the dark binding is another native Australian timber. All of this round there is what's called purfling. And each lot of that purfling is hand done and put in there. The purfling is made with different coloured timbers, and it's laminated till it gets a block about that big, and then you cut it at an angle, and then you can cut it in strips. You get strips about this long, and you heat it with a little bit of moisture, and bend it and glue it in, all in a series of sections.
Well, absolutely beautiful. What other woods, indigenous Australian and New Zealand woods do you use on your
I'm using only Australian woods in the bodies. The other one I use a lot of is Australian native red cedar, which is a protected species, but because I only make a small quantity of instruments a year, somewhere between 40 and 50, I can find enough of this Australian red cedar to serve the purpose. And it comes from the far north, or the variety I use comes from the far north of Australia, up in the Daintree forest area. It grows all the way down the eastern seaboard, but the further south you get, the harder and heavier it gets. The one I use is soft and light and has superb tonal qualities, similar to a timber tone-wise that you have here that everybody worships, swamp ash. The other one I use a lot of is Australian Carry Pine. It also comes from the same region of far north Queensland, and the other one that's very, very pretty and highly figured is Australian Silky Oak, which is a grevillea.
I've seen that. Actually, my first Tomkins guitar was made out of silky oak.
It was too. It had a silky oak face on it.
Yeah, and you could get lost in it. Now, your guitars seem to be favored by some celebrities. I know that Gary Allan plays your guitars. Dale Watson plays your guitars.
Red
Volkart. I mean, you don't seem to have any trouble having great players play your instruments.
Absolutely, and most of the players that are playing my instruments have all come off very high-profile major brands, and which I'm grateful for. Also, you'll find the bass player out of Aerosmith, so we've played a diversion into rock and roll.
What's his name?
Tom Hamill.
Yeah. That bass. One of the basses, I know that he has more than one, but was featured on the cover of Bass Player magazine.
Absolutely,
which is pretty big honor. Now, since you're building instruments one at a time, people can custom order instruments from you.
They can custom order instruments, such as one I made for Keith Urban. 4 or 5 years ago. Had a meeting with Keith and discussed what we would make for him and what he would like. He didn't sort of really know what he wanted, and I had some suggestions. I had some suggestions that I would make a guitar and boom it up. And he said, wow, that's great, he said, because when he lived in Australia back in 1977, they had a house fire and they lost everything, all their belongings. And it just so happened this guitar might have survived the fire. And so on the top of the guitar it has some brass numbers, 77, double seven, which, so we actually called it Old 77, so that was the significance of that.
Well, since I'm familiar with you and your guitars, I am wondering, because I've said this a few nights, there's nobody I know that has a Tomkins guitar that doesn't own more than one of them. Is there anybody that does just own one?
Well, yes, there is, but a lot of artists, a lot of young girls have one only of my guitar, but then they keep talking about, well, for my next guitar I'd like it, so it's a kind of a snowball.
I'll say is, I know that you built this guitar especially for me, and there's a lot of love in it, but I have to tell you that one of the cool features, and I don't know if the video will capture this, but the serial number on my guitar is Jake Kelly.
Yeah, that's great.
So personally, I'm touched.
Thank you. Well, most instruments I make for people that have custom ordered them, I always put their name and a serial number, sometimes inscriptions as well, of little logos that they want, to my darling wife, or whatever cliche.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you for taking the time talking with us
Jake.
and having us out at your show. We're looking forward to playing tonight.
Thank you.
I guess we should mention not only do you build instruments, you're a player as well, and who would know better what a musician wants than somebody that plays?
I believe that. I believe that there are a lot of manufacturers that they may be good at woodwork and all the rest of it, but you need to be, I think you need to be a player to know what things you feel like, how to set them up and make sure that they tune up properly and with the finish, I always use nitrocellulose lacquer, which is what's being used in the very fine acoustic instruments and vintage type.
It's the finish that ages as opposed to the urethane lacquer that never ages.
No, that's right.
So these instruments are like wine.
That's right.
Really.
That's right.
They get better with time.